Have you ever noticed how your dog reacts differently to different family members? Why does it unquestioningly obey the commands of one person but ignore the same words from another? It turns out that our four-legged friends understand family hierarchy much better than we think. Today we will dive into the amazing world of canine psychology and find out how dogs determine who is the boss in the house and why this knowledge is so important for harmonious relationships with your pet. Dogs are descendants of wolves, and wolf packs live by strict hierarchical rules. Although modern research shows that domestic dogs differ significantly from their wild ancestors, their basic understanding of hierarchy has been preserved at the genetic level. That is why your furry friend constantly reads the family environment, determining their place in your human pack. Let us figure out exactly how dogs identify the leader and why this knowledge can change your relationship with your pet for the better. The first thing dogs pay attention to is body language. You may not be aware of it, but your posture, movements, and even breathing tell the dog much more than words. Confident posture, direct gaze, calm, and measured movements, all these are signs of a leader in a dog's understanding. Interesting fact, dogs are able to pick up micro movements of a person's facial muscles that we ourselves do not notice. If you are internally unsure but trying to appear strict, the dog will feel this inconsistency. That is why some people, despite a loud voice and strict commands, are not perceived by dogs as authorities. Animals sense their inner uncertainty. Have you ever wondered why your dog watches you so attentively during meals? It is not just hoping to get a piece from the table. In wolf packs, the leader eats first, and only then do the other members of the group. When you feed your dog, before you have eaten yourself, you're unconsciously sending a signal. You're the boss here. Many dog owners make this mistake and then wonder why their pet does not obey. A simple change in the order of meals, humans eat first, then the dog, can significantly affect how the pet perceives the hierarchy in the home. Resource control is another important aspect of leadership in dogs' understanding. Who decides when play begins and when it ends? Who controls access to food, toys, resting places? In a healthy human-dog relationship, it is the human who should manage all valuable resources. Research shows that dogs who decide for themselves when to play, eat, or sleep often exhibit problematic behavior. They consider themselves responsible for the pack and experience stress because of this. After all, leadership for a dog is not just privileges, but also an enormous responsibility for the safety of the group. Consistency is perhaps the most important quality of a leader from a dog's perspective. If today you allow your pet to sleep on the couch, but tomorrow you scold it for the same thing, the dog will not understand the rules. It will decide that you are unpredictable and therefore cannot be a reliable leader. Surprisingly, studies show that dogs prefer a strict but consistent owner to an inconsistent but kind one. It is more important for them to understand the rules of the game than to get concessions. When boundaries are clearly defined, the dog feels safe and worries less. Did you know that dogs test family members for leadership qualities? This can manifest in different ways. The pet ignores a command, tries to go through the door first, or jumps on the couch, carefully watching your reaction. If you give in to these little tests, the dog concludes that you are not a leader. Such testing especially often occurs during a dog's adolescence, from 6 months to 2 years, and when a new family member appears in the house. The dog seems to be checking. Are the rules still in effect? Who is in charge now? Voice intonation plays a huge role in how a dog perceives your status. Scientists from the University of Budapest found that dogs process human speech in a way similar to us. The left hemisphere of the brain analyzes words, and the right one, intonation. But unlike humans, for dogs, intonation is more important than the words themselves. A low, calm, confident voice is perceived by dogs as a sign of leadership. A high, excited tone may be perceived as a sign of subordinate position or as a signal to play. That is why commands given in a squeaky voice are often ignored, while a deep, confident voice elicits an immediate reaction. Daily routine is another way dogs determine the leader. In nature, it is the alpha who decides when the pack hunts, rests, or changes territory. Domestic dogs have retained this perception feature. The one who controls the daily schedule is perceived as the leader. When you establish regular times for feeding, walking, and playing, you are not just creating a convenient schedule, you are asserting your leadership. A dog that knows what to expect and when feels protected and is more likely to recognize your authority. Physical contact and spatial relationships also tell the dog a lot about your status. In wolf packs, dominant individuals control the personal space of other group members. They can approach any pack member, while subordinate individuals must maintain distance and ask permission for contact. When your dog unceremoniously jumps onto your lap without invitation or pushes you, demanding attention, it is testing boundaries and possibly trying to establish dominance. A leader decides when to start and end physical contact. This does not mean you cannot hug your dog, just that the initiative should come from you. It is especially interesting to observe how dogs determine hierarchy in families with children. Children are usually perceived by dogs as puppies in the human pack, beings lower in the hierarchy. That is why it is so important to teach children how to interact properly with the dog and help the pet understand that even the youngest family members deserve respect. Research shows that dogs that are properly socialized with children perceive them as special pack members, not leaders, but not those who can be commanded either. This is a unique category in canine perception of hierarchy, created by thousands of years of joint evolution with humans. Reaction to stress is another criterion by which dogs determine the leader. In a difficult or dangerous situation, they carefully observe your reaction. If you panic or show uncertainty, the dog concludes that you are not able to protect the pack. That is why it is so important to remain calm when your dog is afraid of something, be it a thunderstorm, fireworks, or a visit to the vet. Your calmness signals, I am in control of the situation. There is nothing to worry about. This not only strengthens your authority, but also helps the dog cope with stress. And what happens when there are several dogs in the house? Then the picture becomes even more interesting. Dogs form their own hierarchy, which may not coincide with how they perceive people. One dog may be dominant in relation to other pets, but completely subordinate to humans. Observations show that in a healthy mixed pack of people and dogs, all four-legged family members should perceive humans as higher in the hierarchy. At the same time, there may be a system of relationships among the dogs that is important to respect and not disturb unnecessarily. To sum up, we can say that dogs determine the leader by a whole complex of signs: body language, resource control, consistency, voice intonation, management of daily routine, and spatial relationships. Understanding these mechanisms helps build healthy, harmonious relationships with a pet based on mutual respect and trust. And now, a question for you. Have you noticed that your dog reacts differently to different family members? Who does it consider the main one, and why? Share your observations in the comments. It will be interesting to discuss different situations and perhaps help each other better understand our four-legged friends. If the video was helpful, do not forget to like it. This will help more dog lovers find this information. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you do not miss new episodes about canine psychology and behavior. Share this video with friends who have dogs. It might help them better understand their pet. In future episodes, we will continue to reveal the secrets of canine thinking and behavior. Something special is being prepared that could completely change your view on communicating with your four-legged friend. And remember, understanding is the first step to harmony. After all, dogs do not just live alongside us, they read us like an open book. Maybe it is time to learn to read them too.